Hello and welcome back to Tabletop Thoughts. Today we are going to look at adding an adventure from basic fantasy RPG into our Shadowdark campaign. A few weeks ago we created this map using the rules for generating an overland map in the Shadowdark core rulebook. And if we notice, above our center town, which we named Honeywood, there was a temple right north of that was supposedly supposed to be infested with cultists and was rumored to have multiple layers of dungeon underneath it. In the town of Honeywood, at the docks, there was a rundown tavern called the Crimson Blade that had cultist involvement. So what we could say is that when the cultists would arrive from offshore, they would land in Honeywood. They could meet up at the Crimson Blade. That's where they would gather before heading north to the temple. So here is the adventure from the Adventure Anthology 3. It's called Cult of the Green Skull. It is for 4 to 6 characters of 1st to 2nd level. So that would be about where the party should be at the very beginning. This might be the first place they go. This might be, something they come to later. We can look at the introduction here where it talks about there's rumors that there's a religious cult around here. There is some details about, recently that there's some kids that went missing. That might be something that we could tie back to the last group of cultists that showed up, maybe around the same time that they left to head north. A couple of kids disappeared from a poor family from one of the low districts. A lot of people aren't really, upset and looking for them because it's from, the poor kids in town. But maybe the party might take interest. They might want to head up there. It also mentions that, there was a cleric and a magic user up there and that they have ensorcered some goblins. I really don't want to have goblins involved with, there'll be other creatures you will see. We'll replace the goblins with thugs from the core rulebook, and then for some of the higher level, almost like the lieutenants, we will use the cultist from the core rulebook, because they actually get one spell, but so there'll be the lowest level, the initiates, then there'll be the cultists who have a little bit of magic, and then at the top level we will have the fighter magic user, which will just make a mage, and the cleric. If we scroll down here, we'll see where we will use the cleric and a mage, which the cleric is a priest in Shadowdark. We will create them ourselves and add them in. We'll try to make them level 2, maybe 3 at most. That way it's a chance for the players. The entrance where you see they had like goblins that were outside. We're not going to have anything outside. Everybody knows that the cultists head up to the temple, so we don't need anything to bring the players in there. And we're going to replace goblins with thugs. For the covered entrance, I would just make it a hallway inside. They're not going to have cultists sitting outside in a thatched roof just hanging out there waiting for people to come. So if we scroll down a little bit, we will see the map of the adventure. They will enter in through one. They can branch off, go to a bunch of different directions. Down here at 14 is where the leader is, and there's also a secret door. We could use that for the entrance into the rest of the dungeon. At some point we should have either the cleric run through it to escape, or some rumor that the players hear on their way up here that, hey, there is multiple levels here. So that way they will be looking for secret doors. Plus that will help them find the secret doors for like 13 and in between up here, between 9 in the hallway. So let's scroll back up here and start looking at this adventure. Alright, so The entrance, yeah, we're going to skip all of that. We don't like the goblins. The cover entryway, we will skip past that, just making an entrance in. Goblins, we will replace with the thug initiates. That'll be standing outside. These are probably the newest guys to the group, so of course they get guard duty standing outside until they show they have some promise or something to give to the cult. Alright, we'll move down. There's a skull hall that will just say it's skulls and bones and everything carved into the walls, and move past that. Room number 3, you can see, is a werewolf hall. A werewolf is a little much to throw at our first level party, since they can only be hurt by silver and magical weapons, and the party doesn't have any. That would be awful, probably a total party kill. So we can replace the werewolf with maybe, say, like a dire wolf or something like that. Maybe a creature they have like that that's just trained. It would bark and alert to everybody else in the dungeon that, hey, there are intruders nearby. The next room would be the barracks room. Apparently there is 10 goblins and a bugbear in here. I would get rid of the goblins. We're not putting goblins in our dungeon. Replace them maybe with 5 of the initiate thugs that we'll add in here. And the bugbear we could replace with one of the cultists. So they'll see that some of the guys here actually have magic. So get rid of the goblins, and we'll replace the goblins and the bugbear with some thugs and a cultist. Next, we look up here. The next room has an ooze in it. That would be something that's different. You know, the party might not be expecting an ooze, so I would leave that. It doesn't look like it has that many hit points or does that much damage. That way it'd be a surprise. The 3 skeletons I would leave in here. If the party struggles with the ooze, they're just dead bodies. If the party is stomping the heck out of the ooze pretty quickly, the skeletons can always get up and join the fight. Next is a storeroom. Just leave it. That's the provisions for the cultists and everybody here. People have to eat. The room after that is the leader's room. This is the room for the mage. We might want to look at getting rid of... I would keep the potions of healing, maybe keep the dagger, some gold. For the magic users, I would just create a 3rd or 2nd level magic user just right out of the rules. Just roll them up. Maybe change the stats around, keep the numbers, but make sure that intelligence is the highest stat. And then just level him up, give him a few things, a couple of spells, and he should be ready for the fight. Here is a picture of the elf. I would keep that, keep the name. Secret Treasury. Maybe keep the chainmail +1. I know that seems a lot, but hey, if you got a fighter and he needs to tank, you can always leave it. Keep a bunch of gold. You might want to cut it down some, because that's quite a bit for the party, although I doubt they can carry that much out. Keep the potions. Next is the room of chains. The kids are in here, so if the party arrives before the kids are sacrificed or mutated or whatever the cult's going to do to them, they will be in here. Again, there is a bunch of hobgoblins and regular goblins in here. Replace the hobgoblin with a cultist, cut the goblins in half and replace them with thugs, and that should be a half decent encounter for the party to save the kids. The refuge hall, yeah, just keep that. It keeps people away. There's a secret treasury there. Next we have the alkalite room. I would just replace those guys with cultists, so you would have 3 of those magic user guys. With a party of 4 to 6 characters, that should be enough for them to handle without being too powerful. Looks like there's some gold, a ring of protection +1. That might be kind of nice if you have a wizard or somebody who seems to be taking a beating. Throw one of those out there to help out. There's the pillar room. There's a trap room. That's fine. And then the Sanctum of Evil. This is where our cleric's going to be hanging out with a couple of undeads. This might be something where why he's here. He's learning how to do that. Keep the name. just go and build him up as like a 3rd level cleric or priest. Priest for Shadowdark. And then just keep the 2 skeletons and the zombie there with them. I would make sure to keep rolling for morale, because this guy is probably kind of a coward. Once his skeletons and zombies die, I would have him bolt out the back just to show off where that secret door is, even if the party would kind of run down the hall and finish him off. This way they know that secret room is there. That would be another reason for them to say go back to Honeywood. They can recover, but they would know how to get to the lower dungeons. I would also make sure they know that, hey, you know, there's nothing in here now. If you clean it all out, it's going to be clean for a couple of days. If you want to go back, rest, come back. But, you know, if you're going to be gone for weeks at a time, something else might move in here. So this is the temple north of Honeywood that is home to the cult of the Green Skull. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, check out the next video right here. It's packed with more great content. And as always, keep on gaming.